Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh my dog, hey!
Oh my dog, hello.
We're back,
Back again.
and we are going to talk about some dogs and stuff.
I want to play the Houdini, the new Eminem song.
Listen, we listened to the whole album, and he told us that we're supposed to listen in its entirety from one to none. You had to go from the top to the bottom. You cannot mix this thing because it is a story.
And he talks about the Sherry Papini in there.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I was like, I'm just watching the Sherry Papini documentary on Netflix, The Perfect Wife. And then I'm just jamming out, going down the road, and he mentioned, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, it's very relevant. Cam, who, she's 16 and only knows of Eminem because her dad and I,
It's so sad that these kids don't know Eminem.
Well, she knows because we raised her right. But
that was like in 2003, 4, 5. That was like the beginning of rap.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Well, for us, like our that.
Well,
like,
yeah. For our generation
in Iowa,
like Eminem was. Yeah. Let's just whittle it down.
The white people learned about rap in 2000 when Eminem and the Real Slim Shady stood up. We were like, oh, we should listen.
I remember being on a road trip with one of my girlfriends, and we're like, what do you think he just said? Like, we were trying to figure it out.
One of my favorite clips ever. Obviously, every episode we're just taking a nod to Slim Shady, so like it is what it is. But there's this interview that Eminem does, and he is saying that he can rhyme with anything, like any word
except orange.
Floor hinge, door hinge.
Get the fuck out of here.
He did.
He did. That's my favorite clip. He's like, you can, and the guy was like, okay, you can't rhyme with orange, and he's like, floor hinge, door hinge, and he like does like a little rap about orange, floor hinge, and it's a whole thing, and he's got and he is top notch.
And he just made a post the other day. He's like 18 years or 19 years sober or something
Well, didn't
like
you
that.
say
What?
he's like
Yeah.
like he's doing the Chris Gaines of the Garth Brooks.
Well, Cam said, so anyway,
rap.
we were listening and Cam said, well, what this album is about is he's trying to cancel himself. And I was like, oh, gosh, you are wise in your young years. It's exactly what he's doing.
Why is he trying to cancel
Not
himself?
in the real way, but in the way to make him relevant again. So, like,
oh my God.
what he used to do back in the day, he would pull out all the stops and, like, say all this crazy stuff because everyone would talk about it. Well, he's doing it again, but in cancel culture, he's just doing everything that you shouldn't do and saying everything he shouldn't say. And that's why he's saying it's the death of Slim Shady. He's canceling himself. It's magic. I love it.
I'd like to cancel myself someday.
On to dogs. Right? No, you won't.
Okay.
Because we have been busy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. In the last 2 weeks, we have had 12 intakes, and a majority of that has been, I'm going to ask you how to pronounce this, and you're probably not the right person.
Yes, I am too. Yes, I was hoping you were going to ask me because I've been practicing. Please ask.
What is the name of the breed?
Well, we took in this 5 puppies, and I think the reason that we got them is because they were not selling because they're not a common breed. It's actually a pretty rare breed of dog.
Okay.
And they are of Madagascar descent, and the name is French.
Okay.
And it's Coton de Tuileries.
Coton de Tuileries.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so
Coton de Tuileries.
And
basically they look like little fluff balls.
They look like little Lhasa Apsos or Shih Tzus or something.
They're adorable, and they went lickety split. They're gone. They gone.
Just so you know, if you sound spell that into Google, it pulls it up.
Coton de
Tuileries.
I feel very fancy.
You have to at the end.
A very Carrot Bradshaw.
Yes. So that is a very unheard of breed of dog, but people went crazy for it.
And we got 5 of those.
The crazy why?
Tell us still
why.
Don't believe the story. So I
don't either.
We got a message.
Sometimes we get stories that are not real, and we just have to be
and we know that they're not real, but like, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
This isn't Maury. There's no
there's no lie detector or like you are not the father or whatever.
So our friend Nancy Harvey, she is with Iowa Stars.
for
companion animals. I just
we should say
shortened it up to
quickly,
Iowa
we were
Stars.
going to talk about her with something else, but we should talk about who she is and what they do and why we work so well together.
So I don't even remember where I met Nancy. I do actually. Duh. Oh my God. Duh.
I don't. I'm excited
I
to hear.
met Nancy. She facilitated the rescue for Stanley. I shit you not. So
Oh, no way.
yes, she facilitated between Chris and then Chris, because he was on the east side and I was working downtown.
That's
And
right.
so
So this is Fluffy Butt Stays connection
Fluffy
again.
Butt Stays, 2018, December. I
She always knows the month and year of when something happens, and I'm always like, what month and year is it even now? I don't know.
So I met Nancy on the southeast side of Des Moines in the absolute shit part of town. I mean, like, you lock your doors while you're in the car part of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we rescued Stanley. And that's where I met Nancy. Ah, God, I can't believe I didn't forget that, but I just misplaced it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
about-
and ever since then, we've been working with Nancy.
Yes.
And when we started Fluffy Butts, she actually facilitated the very first
No, when we started
intake.
Oh My Dog Rescue.
I'm sorry. When we started Oh My Dog, she facilitated the very first
Yes.
intake for Jet.
She did.
And
So she got us our very first rescue. That's
yes,
right.
And she occasionally sends us requests for foster. Sometimes
But
we can
tell about
accommodate.
what Iowa
sometimes we
Stars
can't.
does.
Well, she's in quite a bit. She's in quite a lot of. I mean, she also works with the Iowa Bird Rehabilitation.
Really?
Yes, she does a.
Maybe she wants a
ton
couple of
work.
parakeets because I'm really tired of them.
She does a ton of work with injured
Wildlife.
waterfowl,
Yes.
injured
Okay,
wildlife,
so she doesn't want my parakeets.
and
Fine.
whatnot. But occasionally, I would say, once or twice a month, she'll send us a message like, "Hey, can you take?" And sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked with her on. Well, she facilitated Diego and a few others, but she reached out to us about these 5 pups that a friend of hers, another
friend of a friend.
another rescue friend of
Yeah.
hers was trying to.
So essentially what
Find
she
a place for
does
these
is
dogs.
she's a networker for rescue. So
Yes.
she does not herself have a rescue, but she networks for finding dogs that she sees that need help with the appropriate rescues. And she has gotten to know us, and she knows quite well what we won't say no to.
Right. She finds problems and makes them other people's problems.
In the very nicest, most helpful way. That is
Yes.
100% what she does.
Absolutely.
And we've been able to help some really special dogs because of her, and she does a really great job of networking those dogs once they go into rescue. She shares them online
Yep.
and helps us to find them homes.
And
from
she
there.
always makes a very generous donation with every dog that we take in.
Yeah,
so we
she
really,
does.
really, really appreciate that. And she adopted Sweet Leo, the Bashan, from us.
She did. She took a
And
puppy
she
mill
is-
kid who has taken a lot of work.
So in love with that dog.
So
And I
sweet.
think that dog is so in love with her.
And still hates her husband, the dog does.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I met him. He's a nice man, but as a Bichon, you have to be picky because you're a fancy dog.
I feel like, and I've kind of noticed this as a trend, like in rescue.
There's a really over exuberant woman, and they have a grumpy man husband who
I
sits
mean-
in the lazy boy and is like, whatever.
What are we doing now?
Oh my God, where'd this dog come
Like,
from?
how,
Whatever.
how many, I mean, you have a grumpy husband, right?
Very.
How many of our fosters have
Liked him more?
semi-grumpy husbands? I mean, I think Marissa is one of very few that has a on-board husband.
But he's also grumpy, though. Marissa will tell you that he loves to grumble about, like, Walker is there and he is driving to pick up dogs. He loves to transport. He helps. He
does do
jumps in.
transport
He'll
a
go
lot,
on his
yeah.
own without his wife prodding him to say, hey, I'll transport these dogs. But don't you tell me he's not grumpy. He is 100% grumpy husband, but in the most loving and on-board way possible.
Supportive way,
yeah,
yeah.
he's very supportive, but he's totally got grumpy husband vibes.
I feel like we might need to start a side fund for marital support.
Yeah, like how many
Spousal
dogs?
support.
So for every number of dogs that your wife brings home this year, you get $20 towards marital counseling for that calendar year.
Oh shit!
We
That's not
should-
kidding. Anyway, back to intake. So we took in 4 month old. They're 4 months old, right?
Yes.
4-ish months old, whatever.
Yes.
And it was such a
Yeah.
strange story. So this lady.
Yes. Okay, we finally get back. It's a weird story.
This lady had.
She
This is the
she went to a breeder or got alerted to
She
this breeder that
bought
had these
these
dogs
5.
that were in a poor condition, supposedly. So she bought them for $500 each.
So $2,500 this lady's gotten these dogs. 5 of them.
And she and
She bought all of them.
5. She bought all 5. And then
This is like a
vetted-
bridesmaid thing. Like,
It's
I'm
so
taking all of
stupid.
the puppies
Yeah,
home.
I would have. She then vetted the males, got them neutered, got everybody's initial vaccines done, and then she said, I would like to give them all to rescue.
I half-assed think that she was trying to start her own breeding stock, but like, why would
But
you
she neutered the males. No, I think.
Okay, but she didn't spay the females.
Well, she was just trying to avoid, six-legged coton de Toulouse.
I don't know. It's such a weird story, and frankly, at the end of the day, Karen and I are just like,
Whatever,
okay,
we'll take
whatever.
'em.
We don't give a shit what the story is or what
So
the supposed story is.
On
We took
top
them all
of
in.
these dogs that we got that actually did have some vetting, which is rare, I'm going to just speed ahead for a quick little thank you to Family Pet Veterinary
Oh my
Center.
gosh, yes.
They have a location in Norwalk and in West Des Moines. The West Des Moines location is managed by one of our volunteers who is one of our, from the very original. Courtney and I have been rescuing dogs together for a very long time. And
Also Heather Wilkerson works there.
There are several.
And now Emily.
Yes,
too.
Emily and Chelsea works there too. So we have several volunteers who have come from this place of work, and then they also, on Saturday, took the 3 females and for free spayed them for us and did it as a learning opportunity for some students who are going to be hired there as veterinarians, but they're veterinary students, and so they did like a training with the 3 dogs plus Hippo, who is my foster right now, and I am madly in love with her. She's so sweet.
When is he going home?
So because she just got spayed and her day-to-day is going to be living at the dog park while her dad works at the bar, we had to give her a little extra time with us. So she's going to stay with us for the week, and then Sunday night after work, he's going to come pick her up.
Excellent.
And I'm so excited. One of his coworkers got her already a little Hippo squeaky toy, and he brought it over tonight so that we could have it at the house for her and get ready to like come. And he's been coming and taking her on walks, and he's in. But she is this little American bully thing. My God, she just looks like a hippopotamus. There's nothing else to be said.
She's very stout.
Oh, she's thick. And she loves to wrestle with my, our little pit bull, Tot Dot. They love to play. And so anyway, she's been wonderful. And I was holding out because I knew this dog had to remain in the family. So what better in the family is my favorite bartender. I see him multiple times a week. I mean, I give him a Christmas gift. Like, what more do you need? So anyway,
I was just telling a bartender at Flat Tire that there needs to be like a bartending therapy certification.
Oh yeah,
because
Yeah.
these bartenders
Oh yeah, Harrison
hear a lot.
he
Take on a
doesn't know
lot.
what he's in for. So he's got 2 cats at home, and now he's about to get a little baby hippopotamus who is gonna just take over their whole world. And I hope they fall in love as much as I have with this dog because I'm jazzed. And if not, if it doesn't work out, then I am so screwed because I am so in love with this dog. Okay, so we've also got you picked up Iris.
Did I? Oh yes.
Yes,
Iris and
the Weimaraner.
oh yeah, because it went to
fat
a
Weimaraner.
Weimaraner specific rescue.
Yes, and they were
Which
sad.
okay,
Ooh.
so I think either last episode or 2 episodes ago we talked about kind of traumatizing situations with the Fort Dodge situation and whatnot, and you know I hate to overuse the word traumatized because
We're not traumatized, but it is a lot. It sticks with you. How about that?
We're definitely certifiable. That's for sure. I mean, there's no question about that. I just hate the overuse of the word traumatized.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I show up to pick up this Weimaraner and what is it?
It's a
sheepadoodle?
Sheepadoodle. It's a sheepdog doodly thing.
So this gentleman had reached out to us, and
It was urgent because
him and his
two
supposed
large
wife,
dogs,
I'm
yeah.
assuming, were having marital issues.
They were
and
getting a divorce, yeah.
him and these two very full-size
Big dogs. The one was
were
like 80 pounds or something. It was
living
huge.
in a Volkswagen Beetle.
And I knew it was a Volkswagen Beetle before he told me because
With the
that
pictures.
was Cam's car, and I saw the inside, and we used to have a little Volkswagen Beetle, and I saw the thing, and I said, we gotta move because these people they're living in a Volkswagen. Like, you can tell from the inside, like, what it was. And it was, you said, when he pulled it, I'm like, mm-mm.
And, Kara and I have been doing this long enough that we've heard all of the stories.
We
and we've
know when
seen
it's
all the
BS.
shit and whatever. But, so and this gentleman was from northwest Iowa, and I essentially said, listen, if you can get him to Boone, I will meet you there and get them where they need to go.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
We're not going out of our way because we
I don't mean
know
to
if
sound like
you're
an
real.
asshole, but I'm not going to drive 2 hours to solve your situation. Like,
Right.
if you need help, we're happy to help, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to meet me. So anyway, he did. He met me in Boone.
Like, on a dime. We were like, we'll be there. He was there.
He was like, I'm on my way. I was like, okay, cool. To see a full-grown ass man sitting on a curb with his dogs
next to a Volkswagen Beetle.
next to a Volkswagen Beetle that he's obviously living in tears,
Sobbing.
like literal tears
Yeah.
coming down his face, and I mean, he's obviously very distraught. It breaks your heart. And I know that there's another side of the story, and I'm not here to make any judgment calls or pass any judgment on the situation. Like, I don't know the other half of the story, but
Yeah.
but it's still, regardless, like, I'm here for this situation, and this situation is heartbreaking.
It was really awful.
It's very sad to see somebody very dedicated to their pets and in a position where he knows that this is the best and only option that he has.
And he was getting ready to go work an overnight shift that night. So he's like, I need these dogs to have somewhere to go because they can't spend the night by themselves in this car.
Right.
I need you.
Right.
And half the time, seriously, when we hear these
And
stories,
like I wasn't busy.
Yeah.
I was definitely busy.
Yeah,
and
we
this
had
was not an ideal timing situation
No.
for me.
we were like tapping our wristwatches,
But I'm like,
let's roll.
okay,
but,
fine,
yeah.
I got it.
But it was
we're
worth
here.
every
That's what
second.
we're here for.
And so then after you picked him up, you brought who we named Iris, the Old English sheepdog doodle thing, with us to a little bit of a happy hour situation.
Yeah.
And she was.
Well, I dropped that freaking fat hippo of a Weimaraner off in where did I go? Marshalltown.
Marshalltown.
Well, I went even further than that.
well,
I met him further than that.
And thank goodness that we had it. So this was
She was so fat.
She was.
Okay.
She had breasts.
So
That's like the beginning of the joke you told in
She
junior
was
high. Your mom is so fat.
She was so I take my truck. I have a farm truck. It was Aaron's truck. I take it to pick up larger dogs because obviously it has more room than my car.
Yeah.
And so I take it to go pick up this Weimaraner and a sheepadoodle. And I'm like, okay, cool. Weimaraner immediately goes into the front passenger seat, and I'm driving down 30 on my way to Marshalltown, and I get to like Nevada, and my truck is dinging. And it's an older truck. It's got 237,000 miles on it. Plug-in Cadillac Escalade here. I could really use a full-size vehicle.
We need
to
a big
transport dogs
SUV,
in.
an Oh My Dog SUV, please.
But anyway,
it needs to look good because
dealing with this truck, and this truck is dinging, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what is going on? It is this fat ass Weimaraner putting off the passenger side seatbelt alarm. Because she's so fat, she's registering as a full ass adult in the passenger seat that she needs a seatbelt.
I would like to laugh more at this, but but sweet Bojangles does that every time we go to the dog park. So he sits up front
God.
and he's just dinging away. I'm thinking about getting one of those little seatbelt clipper things to make him, because he doesn't want to wear a seatbelt.
I have one of those.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to get one because, yeah, it happens. But yeah,
So,
everything
yeah.
above 65 pounds does that, and he's right on it.
So the hour and a half to Marshalltown, I'm listening to my truck ding because I got truckers passing me and they're doing double takes and doing the honk honk at this.
It's like he's like an 80
tits out Weimaraner.
She had a lot of boobies. It was really funny. So the great thing is, though, this is Rescues Working Together mini story.
Oh yeah.
We didn't know what we were going to do. We knew we wanted to help this guy, but we didn't have placement for 2 large dogs. So I thought of, I know someone that goes to Paws and Pints that's a Weimaraner crazy. And so I messaged her and I said, 1, do you want to foster a Weimaraner? Which she's just finishing fostering a Weimaraner who had heartworm, so she's kind of keeping things chill at her house. But she said, hey, here's the personal contact information for the Iowa Weim Rescue. And it was like kismet. They're
Yeah,
like, yep,
it
bam,
did work
bam,
out
bam.
very
We've
well.
got somebody available. Here we go. Let's be there. It's all going to work out. So it was kind of a fun orchestration that happened.
Yeah.
She was the one doing all the work and driving all the dogs around, and I was like, this is really fun. I messaged
Oh
her,
yeah, I'm having a great time.
I said, I'm having a lot of fun. This is really cool. I like when it all fits together like this. But anyway.
So yeah, then I brought that sheepadoodle back to Flat Tire. We had a couple cocktails on the.
And she loved
on the
it.
patio.
She was happy.
And she's
Nice
just
dog.
a doll of a dog. And she was scooped up real quick.
Well, she had somebody that was going to meet her, and I think they ghosted or decided not to or whatever. And then there was this other couple that they had called me, and he called.
They called, they messaged, they
called,
emailed,
they
they sent a
messaged.
smoke signal.
They said, we really want this dog. And I said, well, you know,
Yeah.
we've got other dogs. Iris has someone coming to meet her.
Calm down.
And he said, no, like, we want this dog. And I'm like, man, this feels kind of like they might be it. Like, I don't know. And then when she messaged and said that the original adopters had kind of fallen through, I'm like, go. These are your people.
Yep.
And they were there within like an hour, and they adopted that dog.
Yeah.
They were ready. It was so cute.
I love it when people are actually excited to adopt and they don't need a day or a week or a month to think about it. Like, either you're in or you're out. Let's go.
It's true. So anyhow, let's see what else. We had a couple breeder releases from that breeder that I'm working on helping to retire. And so we got a little Bichon named Magic and a Shih Tzu named Pookie. Pookie's kind of a hot mess express. We're working on that. But
Magic was a foster fail.
is going to be. Yeah, we haven't officially done it yet, but there's no way she's letting that dog leave. So the brand new foster, who is a mother of a previous adopter of mine and a foster of ours, she pulls up, stands outside my door. I walk out with this tiny little, 7-pound, small Bichon, and her face just went, and I'm like, oh, all right. Well, do you want to do the adoption now or like just pretend for a while? I don't know. So anyway, yeah, she has gotten all of her vet work done, and I'm sure she'll be making it official this week.
We got Bosley up in Boone.
Who is a
He's
little
in
Pomeranian Chihuahua. Freaking adorable. So cute. Already has a meet and greet set. So
Beans was returned for potty training issues. They work long hours, blah, blah, blah.
we disclosed all of the issues and problems that this dog had at its previous home, and it was returned on Sunday and adopted today. So
Yeah, like literally like 2 hours
he
ago.
gone. Yeah, we just got the Venmo. And then Nala is one who I haven't even posted on our site
I
yet.
didn't even know about this
I
one.
know, haven't told you yet.
I love hearing about this shit live.
Nala has to look like a lion.
No, not at all. And actually, we've had a Nala before, so I had to add an H to the end of her name, Nala. Nala is her mom went into assisted living and couldn't keep her and had her at a boarding facility or a dog watcher. Dog babysitter.
Dog sitter.
In the hospital. Went from the hospital to like a
Who's fostering?
Barbie.
Oh, I love Barbie.
Barbie's great. And so Barbie has she got me
This is kind of how this goes, actually, just for all of our listeners. I just get kind of a daily download from Caro. Like,
what kind of manic day did you have today?
so how many dogs do we have now? Oh, okay, great.
And then I say, I am going to now be unavailable. Please take over.
I really, really, really have to figure out this talk to text thing. Honest to God,
You have to. You can't use your thumbs. You're going to have arthritis by the age of 40. You can't.
My wrists. I can't take it.
Yes, we talk to text around these parts.
In better news, 19 adoptions. Holy crap.
19 adoptions, which...
In 14 days.
Yeah.
19 adoptions
So that
in 14
was
days.
all 4 puppies from the Australian Shepherd litter officially adopted after their spays and neuters.
Yay.
Sissy, oh my gosh, I will post this.
Decrepit,
She's a little toy poodle.
mini poodle.
Hold on.
Toy poodle.
I'll post this picture on our social media, but you have got to
She's
see
ridiculous.
her new mom. They look exactly alike.
Why does this happen every time?
The sweetest lady, she actually, it had the
She's like 96 years old, right?
early 90s, but she's spry as hell. She does everything, drives everywhere,
It's gonna
takes
be
and
us.
walks this dog ever. So she adopted a senior dog for a senior human, and she's like, I can't live without a dog, and she lives on her own, and she does really great. And
Now
so,
it's just bets on who outlives who.
right. I think it's going to be about right. I try to do like the dog and people math, and I think we're
Right.
good to go. But
Sweet Padlock got adopted last episode.
Yes.
Live.
Yeah.
Okay, and then all the puppies. Zenitsu.
Yeah, Zenitsu was like that little Chihuahua mix, and that was a sweet story because Bree, his foster, would take him to work with her, and he was so shy, wouldn't even take a treat from anyone.
yeah.
And this coworker brought her daughter in, and the daughter hands a treat to Zenny, and Zenitsu goes, "Oh, I like you. I'll eat that treat, and I'm gonna follow you."
No, you're my friend.
And he ran off with them, and
Bye.
she was like thinking about it, and she's like, I can't get over that this like happened with this dog. And they adopted, and the
Sucker.
adoption photos are so cute. I know, it's those little girls that like tuck a Chihuahua under their arm, and the next thing you know, you own a dog rescue. Like, this is what happens. So that was that. And then
Kelly adopted out Chesney, and she's
Chesney.
already ready for another one.
yeah, she's like, sign me up.
Something
So Chesney got a
smaller.
lovely smaller. Chesney was like 14 pounds.
Well, that's fair, though.
Yeah.
YB.
My little YB coyote, that little emaciated.
I would love to see a DNA on that dog.
Don't you think?
I really would, honestly.
Do you think
Because
DNA is going to pull coyote?
I think that dog is just part dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there was a
It's
passing in the night
way- Yeah, it's
built exactly like a little coyote with a white German Shepherd. So strange.
Yeah.
But adopted by someone who actually went to the same high school as Holly, so had that connection. And I've done art stuff with her for many years. And so we kind of had the crossing of paths there. And YB was he was very sweet in my house, but he was a pee pants. He peed all over. He pooped everywhere. Has not had one accident at his new mom's house because he just needed that one-on-one attention and has done excellent. So while we loved him, I was ready for him to go, and he quite literally leapt off the porch so she came and saw him.
Bye, bitch.
She did.
I'm
He
out.
did too. He's like, I gotta go. So she came and saw him the week prior, 2 weeks before, and then she was moving into a new house, so she needed a little time. And I said, hey, I know you. It's cool. I'll hold this dog, which I don't always do, but I did for her. Thank goodness, because literally I opened the door. He saw her, knew who it was, and just bolted and like. No leash needed. Like, this dog was like, let's roll, hurry up. We
Let's
could
get
not
outta
sign the
here.
paperwork fast enough. We signed the paperwork. I set the paper down. He jumped up on her lap, turned around, and was like, take my picture.
See ya.
I gotta go. Get me out of here. I'm sick of this place. Or I'll shit
Check it out of this hotel.
I'll shit on your floor again if you don't let me go. So, anyway, he's happy as a clam.
Banjo.
Adorable.
Oh, finally. Okay.
Banjo had a...
Banjo is a lesson in ghosted applications.
Well,
because
it's
he
what
is
happens
the
when you
cutest
see a
little
really cute
dog
dog. Yeah.
there ever was. And he's like 4 pounds. nothing of hair.
Adorable.
And so of course you get like 37 applications right off the bat. And I'm not shitting you. They all either
46 of them ghosted us.
changed their mind, ghosted us.
This is a legitimate story
and I'm
from
like,
this.
no, what? No.
The people that were going to adopt him, Marissa looked really closely at all the applications. She picked out what she thought was on paper going to be the best one. They messaged her 10 minutes before they were supposed to be there to say that they couldn't find their debit card, so they needed to be a little late. They lived 3 hours away.
When I got that message, I
was
said,
like,
what did I say? I said,
forget it.
Nope, next,
Yep,
cancel it.
next.
I told her, I said, cancel it.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Because no.
So she waited a little bit.
I don't
and
care
then
if
she
we haven't had an application on this dog in 3 months. I
knew
don't care.
2.5 hours ago that you couldn't find your debit card.
Don't have your life together enough that you don't know where your debit card is 3 hours before you need to be somewhere.
That is 3 hours away.
I'm not going to trust you to take care of this dog.
It was just the dumbest thing. So I said, okay,
Get
give
outta
him a
here.
few minutes, send him a message, and they completely ghosted from there. So they took
Weird.
the time to make a BS excuse up about they couldn't find their debit card and then just never
And they
responded.
weren't even they weren't young either.
No, it was like older people.
What the? Oh, okay.
So anyway, same day, of course, in true Marissa fashion, she moved along down the list and found what was an even better fit and adopted that dog out the very same day, but not without having so many that were just like, nah. I saw a cute dog and I put my name in, but I didn't really mean it situation.
All right, I'm over it.
Yep.
Okay, Iris went out. That Sheepadoodle went out.
Yep.
Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart, Oliver Wolfgang, and Thistle Pete were 3 of those coton de Feuillet dogs.
Whatever.
And and then you had,
Dorito.
you're going to try and say it in a Spanish accent.
Dorito. Dorito Locos.
Locos. He was about to be adopted the last time that we were
Yeah.
and so he left.
He was in and out.
Yeah.
I don't think I even had him a week.
Yeah.
Scrappy, the boxer, left today.
And on our next episode, you will meet Scrappy's foster mom, who is Heaven, is her name.
Bravo.
Thank you. And she did a really great job with him. He went home just today. And then Beans, he was in and out. In on Sunday, out on Monday.
Yeah.
So,
Well done.
yeah, lots going on.
Okay. So that's the ins, that's the outs.
Yes. But as we were talking before this, we were trying to figure out like kind of what we were going to dive into a little bit in the meat of the episode. And
Yeah, we sat down to have cocktails. I was like, what the hell are we going to talk about tonight?
I think more and more we run into situations where dogs are coming in and they have a lot of buts. Like, this is an adorable dog, but it's not potty trained, but it bites children in the face, but it doesn't like other dogs, but it chases cats. And so we share the good, bad, the ugly with our adopters, but also with our foster homes to say, hey, here's this dog. Will it fit into your household? And if so, would you like to foster it? If not, then don't sign up, right? But sometimes we have these buts that are very fixable. And how do we do that? How do we manage that? How do we manage when we get a dog that when we have them come in, we know that there's going to be potential issues and what types of things happen to make that dog then adoptable?
So when Kara and I get these calls for either surrender or useless or, whatever it is, and there's these issues, there's these butts attached to them. And we go to post them in our Mutt Mafia, which is our private Facebook group for volunteers and fosters only. I always cringe at posting these dogs because it's like, well, who's going to sign up for this dog? Like,
Yeah, besides us.
and right. And then you have to make a call. Like, well, we don't have a foster for it. We can't take it. Or we're going to take it ourselves. And, we're already overloaded or tapped out or we're on a break or, whatever it is. And,
Yeah.
But we do have fosters that have
Been doing this long enough that they know that the
in
butts
the
aren't
game
scary. Yeah.
long enough that they know how to handle these issues. And that's kind of the beauty of being a foster. So when you say that you're a foster, like, when you're in cocktail conversation, like, oh, well, I foster for so-and-so. I foster for the ARL, or I foster for Oh My Dog, or I foster for Fluffy Butts, or whatever. It's like,
What does that mean?
You know, there's
Yeah.
there's levels of fostering. There's fostering, and all of them are appreciated
And needed.
and all of them are needed, and all of them are great, and no one's better than anybody else. But when you foster, once you get past a certain number of fosters,
You
it's kind
start-
of like, send me whatever you got.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I know how to do this, and it's kind of like.
Well, it's where we'll figure it out.
It's just
came
with
about,
experience.
right? So
And so it's how far do you want to commit to fostering? If you want to stay on the surface level and foster cute, adorable dogs that are in and out within a week, great.
We need that.
We need you too. We really need people that are not afraid to say yes to dogs that have potty training issues. And it's not because we don't value your furniture as much as the next person, as much as my furniture. It's that you know how to train a dog
and
that's not potty
manage
trained.
that while it's happening.
Or how to redirect a dog that is cat aggressive. Or how to appropriately introduce dogs to other dogs, or dogs to children, or dogs to cats. And so when you're fostering, it's kind of like, there should be some sort of certificate or something like,
You have graduated
You've reached
to-
level 1. You've reached level 2.
Well, and
You've reached level 3.
Yes. And so I think we want to dive into talking about a few specific dogs that we've had and what we've done to curb their butts. Like, what are their issues?
Because without people to handle the butts, without people that
We can't
will-
take easy dogs all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not, it doesn't,
It's not sustainable.
dogs are returned or surrendered for a reason.
Right.
And it's not always, I would say, more often than not, it's not the dog's fault.
No.
It's not an inherent
It's environmental.
characteristic within that dog. It's that dog is either in the wrong environment, or that dog hasn't been trained
Properly
or
socialized, or a litany of things.
Right.
So, in particular, we talked last time, episode 6 perhaps, about a dog that was being returned, who was returned for being unadoptable, untouchable, whatever.
Feral, completely and absolutely feral was the direct quote.
Yeah, and that
Was bullshit.
the best.
Sorry.
It was bullshit.
Did I overspeak there?
The first quote, the best part of that quote, and the part of the quote that when I know Holly was reading the email at the same time that I was reading the email, and I knew that when she read this sentence, that she knew that she had to respond and not me, because things were going to get spicy. And I'm pretty good at biting my tongue, but they said your staff did not properly prepare us for this dog. First of all,
Bitch,
what staff?
We're all volunteers.
I wish I'd had a staff.
I would like to talk to my manager, please.
So anyhow, that's what pissed me off about that one. But anyway,
Who's signing your paychecks, Kara?
I don't myself, and they are 0. Yeah. So anyhow, they returned this dog, Melon, because of all of these things. Basically, they were unwilling to listen to our advice as to how to integrate this dog into their household. Now, we talked about last time that it probably just wasn't the best fit for all involved. However, I do believe had they listened to our advice that dog could have easily decompressed and done fine anywhere. But here's what happened and what can be done with dogs like Melon, who came from a hoarding situation.
And we want to caveat that not every dog that comes through rescue, and I know that there's been a very recent hot debate on TikTok with our favorite TikToker about how rescue dogs and shelter dogs are, quote, damaged.
Or broken or whatever. And it's
and
not
that's
the case.
bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
It's every
And that
dog has something
type
that
of rhetoric
can be fixed.
is
Yeah.
completely unnecessary and unfounded and not helpful at all to anybody.
No.
And so when we talk about these specific cases, this is not every dog
It's
that
not the
comes to
norm.
rescue. But if you are willing and able to take on a dog that has issues, it's very every issue has a solution.
There is an answer for every problem with every dog that we've had come through. And
Obviously.
And typically...
Because we've never euthanized a dog.
Not yet. But typically, the answer is actually quite quick. And it's finding what environment needs to be created for that dog to become a companion rather than a fearful creature. Mm-hmm. So, Melon, who had previously done well in Morgan's home and done well with her, did not do well in the adoptive home, came then, after our last podcast recording, to my house. And do you want to know the secret of what we did so that this dog loves us more? I think he gets more excited than any of my dogs when I walk through the door. I left him the hell alone.
You got to leave him alone. Especially Chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Especially
Give him
Chihuahuas.
a minute to see that you're okay and that you're safe. They have to, from afar, figure out that you're going to be fine. And that could take one day. That could take 1 month. That could take 1 year. Most not a year. But it can, depending on what trauma they've come from. But we left that dog the hell alone. I told everybody. Even my husband, who thinks that he can just break any dog ever and that they're going to love him immediately, he was like, okay, I get it. This dog needs some space. And he did. And we gave him space, and then we started trying to touch him with our welding gloves on, just to get him used to our touch and that it was a kind touch and that there was good things coming. We fed him with the welding gloves on.
Which Dad and I did that at my house as well before he came to your house.
Yeah. So getting him used to these big hands coming at him. Okay, that was step 1. Step 2 was then allowing him to do what he wanted to the thing that was scary coming at him. So we took the glove off. And we just set it on him. Like the glove itself with no hand in it, we just set it on him. And we let him go, oh, I don't like that. And he bit it. And then we'd do it again. And we I don't like that. And then we'd let it go. Give him a couple days. We'd come back. Treats, all the food, soft talking, sitting on the ground, letting him get interested, following around the other dogs, seeing what's going on. And eventually, when we were gone, I told my daughter, don't touch that dog. He's not ready yet. She said, oh, I just did the welding glove thing. And then she sent me a picture of her walking around the house holding him just like she does her spoiled ass little 4-pound Chihuahua, like no problem.
All right.
And that's what he needed. He needed to know that the things that were coming at him that were scary were not indeed dangerous and that they were bringing him positive things. So every time that welding glove or that hand came near him, a positive thing happened. Every time he got a meal that he liked, the welding glove was there and the hand was there and that touch happened. And we did it very slowly.
Right.
And now, quite literally, I told you earlier, I could throw him in the air in a flip, catch him under my arm, smooch him on the face, and he'd be like, oh, I love you so much. He's so cute. And he follows us around, and if I'm wearing a skirt or a long pant, he will kind of just lightly hang on and just walk along with me, like not in a mean way, but just like, what are you going to do? I'm going to go with you. And then touch with his little mouth. It's so sweet. So he has a home out there, but it's a patient home. And that's okay. A lot of hoarding dogs need a patient home, and it takes a little time. For him, it just took him, a few days in our house of this.
Yeah, and I
repetition.
think, you and I and some of our fosters have been through this so many times that we don't even think about it anymore, and it just comes kind of second nature. And so when you're adopting out, it's kind of like, okay,
how do I explain to these people?
Explain this in Crayola, and not in a. I'm not being
not in a mean way, but
no,
just
I'm not
in
being
a,
mean. I'm just
something
like
you've never experienced.
You gotta kind of remember that not everybody has been through this 800 times. Like,
right. Yeah.
So when you explain it to somebody, like when I say leave him alone, I literally mean set up his kennel, set up his space, and just walk away.
Yeah.
And it feels counterintuitive.
It's like you got to adopt a dog. You're excited. You want to hold them. Yeah. You want to love them.
Of course. But
if you commit to take in a dog that's like this, listen to us, because we've done it a time or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will come around. And sometimes you have to meet a dog where they're at. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you have to meet a dog where they're at. Just like with people. You got to meet them where they're at. And that's not always, coming home and them jumping in your arms.
Well-
It's not always a Hallmark commercial. And I feel like it's almost better that way when you actually work with a dog through its trauma, through its issues, through its barriers, and figure them out, let them figure you out. It creates a stronger bond than just some big old derpy dumb dog that just is going to love anybody that walks through the door.
And I think, honestly, I'm going to talk about a few different things in other scenarios more quickly, but we spent so much time on this leave them alone thing because it's probably the best
so
thing you can
important.
do for any dog you bring into your house. Don't force it.
Yeah.
Do not force that dog to go thrown into your pack. So,
Because
yeah.
think about you getting picked up and put into literally another country. Like,
Yeah.
let me just pick you up and throw you into the middle of Hong Kong. And
I'd be really tall.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know where you're at. The time is different. The
Yeah.
schedule's different. The food
language
is
is different.
different. The
Yeah.
language is different. The people are different. Like, you're so many things are coming at you all at once, and you're trying to figure them all out. Like, just give them some time, give them some space, give them some room, and let them come to you. Let them figure it out.
And what they're doing
settle in.
while you're doing that is they're observing that you are, one, in charge of this household. Mm-hmm. Two, you're in charge of all of the resources that they're going to get. Oh, guess what? Dogs are spending their whole lives looking for specific resources. One being food, two being eventual attention when they're ready for it, and three being safety.
Your shelter, comfort, right.
And you are in charge of all of that. But by you just saying, go ahead and watch and see what happens, allows them to, on their own, without fear, decide that you are their number one resource.
Right.
And that's the key to allowing a dog to
This is also the key to dating. If anybody needs any dating advice.
Oh my God. I haven't dated in 2 decades and I don't care to. Yeah.
Okay, so when you bring them home, create a safe space for them that is theirs and theirs alone. So if you have like a mud room or a laundry room,
We use our
or
bathroom a lot with a gate. Yeah.
a part of the living room that you can corner off, give them their space that's
Even just like a puppy
theirs
playpen.
and they're alone.
Yeah.
If you have to gate them off, approach them several times a day without like actually not if they're aggressive.
Yeah.
If they're aggressive in nature, just walking by their pen, just coming up to them and walking away, and then the next day or a couple days later, coming up and saying, "Hey Fido, how you doing today?" and walking away, and "Hey Fido, how's it going?"
Sit
and
down
walking
on the
away.
floor, watch some YouTube videos, but don't interact with them. Just
Right.
sit down on a cushion, watch your YouTube videos, talk, let them hear your voice in a calm manner, and sprinkle in, and they won't eat when you first have them, which we'll talk about that really quick.
We get so many emails and messages saying, we just adopted this dog or we're fostering this dog and they haven't ate in 2 days. Are you offering them food? Well, yes, of course we're offering them food. Okay. They will eat when they're ready.
Yeah.
They're not going to starve to death. I absolutely promise you. They're not going to starve
Yeah.
to death.
You ever-
As a carnivore, they will not do that.
And speaking of dating, on a first date, how much food are you eating? Not
Well-
very much because you're nervous, right? And you
I'm
like
eating a lot.
I can't. Maybe it's me. So I'm the neurotic dog that
can't
gets
not
dropped
eat.
into a house, and if I'm on a first date or like I don't know somebody, like it's for me a nerve-wracking thing to like eat in front of someone. Well, dogs are feeling that same way because it's when they're eating, the rest of their defenses are down. Same reason why your dog looks at you while they take a shit in the yard.
Right.
They're scared of what's going to happen because their
looking for
defenses are
protection.
down. They're looking for protection.
Right.
Well, when they're eating, if you're looking at them and staring at them and saying, "Why are you not eating that lovely meal I prepared for you in my kitchen because Holly told me about making your own dog food," they're not going to eat it.
Right.
You got to give them time. So we do what we call special food time. The rest of my dogs eat that garbage food that I buy out of the bags off the store shelves, and the new dogs that come in get special food time. And that means they get some stanky ass wet food that I put on a plate, and I put them in a room with the bed that they feel comfortable in, and I shut the door and I walk away. And if I give them about an hour, and if they don't eat it, I take it, I toss it, and we try again the next day. And eventually
They will eat.
They'll eat, and then they understand that I'm getting special food time, and then eventually I can take special food time away, and they'll start eating whatever else everybody else is eating because they integrate themselves into the pack
Right.
of dogs.
They're more comfortable eating with everybody else.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
But above all else, just give them a chance.
Time,
give them
time,
some
time.
time. I mean, what else do we have anyway?
yeah,
Like, just
yeah,
just feel each other out. Let
Yeah.
the bond
yeah.
create itself. But definitely be in tune with body language. Whale eyes. Explain what that means.
Yes. So,
We get this a lot on like the euthanasia list.
They do a
The
behavioral
assessment. They do a behavioral assessment before they get put on the youth list, and like 9 times out of 10, it'll say whale eyes.
Whale eyes is
Like,
looking to the side, big white crescent eye corner. So your dog, when they're looking straight at you, unless they're a pug like my dear Dolores, whose eyes go
wall-eyed.
whoop, whoop, the other way, you mostly can't see the whites of their eyes. If you can see the whites of a dog's eyes who doesn't have a genetic deformity of walleyes, and they're looking to the side, or they're staying really stiff and they're looking from side to side, big, slow eye movements, slow blinking, they are at the height of terrified.
right.
They might not be hunkered down, but if they've got that whale eye, they are 1 second away from snapping and biting at you. They're 1 second away from completely like peeing all over
Breaking
themselves because they're
down.
terrified, breaking
Right.
down. That dog is asking you for space
Right.
and safety. And that's a huge one that we see a lot, that not a lot of people know what that means or what that looks like. Licking of the lips. If
Yep.
a dog is entered into a new situation and they're licking, making all the
Constantly
chomping,
licking.
yawning. People don't know this, but a dog that is yawning, that is not like already comfortable with you, that is a coping mechanism. A lot of shaking of their body, shaking of their heads, unless it's like some sort of medical issue that would be causing that. That's another fearful response. Then, of course, the ones that are more obvious to us, they're cowering down, they're
Turning
shrinking themselves,
away.
they're looking their head away from
Showing
you,
teeth.
hiding in a corner,
Right.
growling, lunging. All of those things are the exact same behavior to say, I'm freaking scared and I don't know who you are and I'm afraid you're going to hurt me.
So just
Leave me alone. Give me some space. So on our social media, I am going to share a couple of charts that I have pulled. It is from Lily Chin created my favorite one, which is this little Boston Terrier. And it shows the Boston Terrier in all of these different stances and his head and his mouth. Doing
It's like
different
one of those
things.
posters with all
It's
the
just a cute poster with all the
emojis.
little Boston Terriers. So adorable. And that's one of my favorites because looking at it, I can see that I've seen a dog in all of these different scenarios. And I might not have realized what that meant. Like a dog shaking like crazy. He's trying to release some stress that he's feeling. You might not realize that. You might just think like, oh, that's just a dog like shaking. You might not realize that if they're scratching a ton and there's no medical reason for them to be scratching, that they're just doing it out of like a neuroses and they're
Right.
scared.
Right.
So we'll share those so you guys can kind of learn a little bit more about that. And then one other thing, I know we're kind of taking a long time to walk through this, but there's just so many things that can happen when you bring a dog into your household.
Whether you're fostering or adopting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, not every dog is going to need as much time as a dog that's had trauma, but every dog is going to need this. And this is what is called positive reinforcement training of some regard. Whether you're doing it very formally or if you're just doing it by offering reward for a situation that they're going to be in commonly or in a situation that might be stressful for them, that positive reinforcement is what's going to build the confidence for this dog to be a member of your family.
What does that look like?
So, find what motivates your dog. Usually, it's food.
Treats.
There are some dogs that are not food motivated. They may be play motivated. They may be pet motivated. Like I have a dog that is so obsessed with getting petted and cuddled. If I tell him to do any trick and I just give him a little scruffle afterwards, he's ready for the next trick because he wants to have that connection. That's less common than the I have a pocket full of hot dog pieces.
Butter
So-
toast.
Yes. So we have trainers that we recommend to follow the positive reinforcement training kind of code, and we can share who those are if you want to take your dog to a formal training. But if you want to do this on your own, a really simple thing to do is to catch your dog doing a behavior that you like. So,
Right.
if your dog, while you're cooking, is just sitting in the corner nicely, not bothering you, and looking at you with big doe eyes, and you think, okay, that's how I'd like my dog to behave every time that I cook, then let's reward that behavior by me walking away from my food, rewarding them in their place, whether that be their bed, on a little rug, in their kennel, whatever their safe place is. I'm going to reward them with that, and I'm going to note that reward with a hand signal, a phrase or a noise or a word or a click. If you look into clicker training, it's
Clicker
amazing.
training is a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah. I used to do that with Dallas till he went deaf.
Now you just have to be like, I'm clicking.
Well, I do use hand signals.
Yeah.
Like when I put a fist up, he knows
So-
that that's it.
Yes, that's a really big deal. So what I have our newest adoption, Tot Dot, in training classes, which is really refreshing my mind about positive reinforcement training. And what they say is dogs don't immediately speak English. They begin to associate a word that sounds the same with a behavior that we want them to do, but we can't train them with a word first and alone. So the first thing you have to train a dog with is typically a hand signal or a motion.
Right.
So for our house, sit is a finger down. So you hold your hand in kind of a half fist and you tap your finger down, because that's something I don't do very often in daily life. So when I do that, all my dogs are going, oh, where's the clicker and where's the treat? When's it going to happen? And they all know. They're very good about that. So I start by, if I catch them in a sit, if they're not going to sit for me when I'm asking them to, I catch them in a sit and I go, this, I say sit one time. If you say it more than once, it means nothing. One time. Click, reward, immediate train. You would not believe what you can do in 2 minutes with
Oh, it's
one
very
dog.
fast. I know it. When Aaron would go to trainings for the Army, he'd be gone for 2, 4, 6 weeks at a time, and I would train Dallas while he was gone.
It's so fun.
Which, I mean, I had him like doing weaves in between my legs. Like we would walk and he would weave in between my legs. I have video of it. But yeah, I don't train any of my dogs for nothing right now.
I remember when
They're trained to sit on the couch when I sit on the couch.
Include your kids in this, right? Include your kids in this, though. You bring a dog home, especially a young dog who's eager and ready to learn. And once you get past that fear part of your adoption and they're ready to start learning from you, include your children. So I hate nothing more than sitting down and having to out loud read a book to a child before they go to bed. So
that sounds like
it's
a nightmare.
awful. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this. So let's make an activity that is mentally stimulating for my child, for myself, and for my dog. So when Dottie, our German Shepherd mix, was small, I said, Cam, I'm going to get us a dog training book, and every night you pick out a trick that you want to teach her. And every night before bed, I shit you not, we would teach her a new trick. That's how long it takes, a very short amount of time.
Oh my God.
We taught her how to turn out the lights. And to this day, at 14 years old, we can't say, get the lights in our house, because she's old and has bad back hips, but she'll still do it. She will jump up, and we have those flat switch plate lights.
Right.
We taught a touch command to the light, and we say, get the lights, and she'd jump up and pop, hit the lights. And the mental stimulation for her doing that before bed, my dog was then tired. My kid was then tired. Everybody went to bed. They accomplished something before bed, and it was just such a fun family thing for us to do. And because we're insane, and that's how we center our lives is around dogs and that kind of thing, we loved it. And at that time, when she was 5, 6 years old, it was perfect. And so Dottie knows a lot of weird freaking things because we had this book that we had to
amazing.
make our way through. So include your family.
Say, you want to go to bed? And they all run for the bedroom.
That's a trick.
No,
That's conditioned. It's a conditioned thing. They know what that means. We say, like if somebody comes over, actually it's a really great thing to teach. You want to go night-night, you want to go to bed or find your bed. If somebody comes over and I don't want them to get hurted by a bunch of dogs at the front door, I say, everybody, it's time to go night-night. And they will all go to the room, run to the room. I shut the door. No.
That's tricking them.
It is, but they get cookies. So somebody might come in and they might just be dropping off something for me or whatever, and I just need a couple of minutes.
my
The pizza
gosh.
delivery guy is coming. You want to go night-night? Go. I'll give you a piece of pepperoni.
See, I'm all about the food. Kara's all about the training and the tricks.
Yes.
My dogs, there is nothing going on up between them ears.
But there could
Kara's
be.
dogs could fly to NASA, fly to the moon with NASA.
Some
if
of
they
them, not the
wanted to.
Chihuahuas. They don't know anything. Chihuahuas know nothing. But they are well conditioned to live in in our household, and they're comfortable and confident. And it's because we've allowed them to do that.
Right.
And you've done the same thing for your house.
I
And
wish
so-
people would train their kids that well, or their cats
I know.
that well.
Cats.
You know, it goes both ways.
Train cats.
Them cats.
FTC.
Well, I think the takeaway from your stories are
Yeah.
that it's not as overwhelming as
No,
it
it
may
can be
seem. It
fun.
can be very fun. It can be very easy, and if you teach one trick a week,
Yeah.
you can do one trick a night. But if you do one trick a week or one accomplishment a week, very quickly you have total control over a dog.
You do. And one other thing I wanted to add was that I pulled from my classes that I've been going to is that you can have a very high energy dog, and a tired dog is a good dog. So a lot of people think I need to run my dog for 4
Right,
hours every
like-
night. I got to go on a run. I got
Like
to
a husky,
throw the ball.
labs,
Any of these high energy working breed dogs,
Yeah.
you do have to exhaust them somehow. But your
There's
girl's not
a-
going to run. So what do we do?
There's a combination between mental exhaustion and physical exhaustion.
And it is so easy to exhaust a dog in 5 minutes by trying to get them to learn a trick or a reward or something. So if you didn't have time to walk your dog that day, throw the ball in the yard, take them for a quick walk around the block, and then teach them a trick or spend 5 minutes with them doing positive reinforcement training. Seriously, everybody look up clicker training. Victoria Stilwell had a show on TV for many years that was called It's Me or the Dog. And she was an excellent example of what positive reinforcement training can do. Very different from Cesar Millan, who did corporal punishment for dogs. That was not what I would recommend. But positive reinforcement training can be mentally stimulating, and it can help you to be a happy household with your dog and your family. So highly recommend. And we'll dive into this more. I'd love to have a trainer come on who actually knows what they're doing and talk a little more about it. But
yeah. I mean, just to validate the situation, but
Yeah.
I think you've been to enough training sessions and
Yeah.
have seen enough dogs and trained enough dogs to,
Yeah.
I think we can definitely take your word for gospel.
yeah, I mean, it is something that has always given me joy, and part of why we're doing this is Holly has a lot of knowledge on the nutrition with dogs that we learned about the last time. And then for me, I am really passionate about finding a way to make behavior dogs work. In your
My
house.
biggest thing with my dogs, and I continue to work on it, is recall. Because
recall is huge. That's the number one
get-
thing you should train your dog.
I mean, at home, they're all fenced in, but when I go down to the lake, like, I don't have a fence yet, and being able to recall them is so important, and we're still...
I'll tell you
a long ways off. Let me just say that. After this past weekend, I've ran down too many dogs in the last 4 days.
I'll tell you something that I think not all trainers would probably get right behind me on, but that I have been really successful with, a very quick narrative of a training collar and an e-collar.
Oh, I'm about to put one on every single one of them.
There is nothing wrong.
And they're all going to be on the same remote. So if
you're
Stanley
messed up-
doesn't do anything, doesn't do the right thing, Sharky's going to get it.
So now you're trying to use peer pressure.
No. Don't listen to this. This is not the way. There are multiple channels on each remote. You can pick which dog gets which channel.
I would never put a collar on Sharky.
Sharky would pass
But
away.
Stanley's ass, he's going to get it.
I have e-collars for my dogs, and I have never one time used the shock setting.
Because I shit you
Not to say that's wrong, but
Stanley ran off, and I could see him. He was out in the weeds right next to the pond. I could see him. He was about 30 feet away. Not even kidding. And I'm yelling at him, Stanley, come here. He's going to get chomped up by a snapping turtle. I'm sure of it. And I'm like, he's just looking at me like, I can't hear you. Mm-mm. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
That is the reason I bring this up, because these collars, if you're going to allow your dogs off leash in a safe environment, if you want to train for recall, these e-collars have a beep, and that beep is always in the dog's ear. So what we've done at our house, if we've trained recall with a beep or with a whistle. So every time that my dog
Bitches Prime Days. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Seriously.
I'm about to just get right on here right now.
It's really magical. We don't use the shock. The vibrate is for an emergency if I really need to get their attention. There are situations in dogs that require using the shock, but ours have done really well. And the reason I use an e-collar is for sole purpose of recall training. So I train a target. The target is my hand, and the noise is the whistle of my mouth. If they cannot hear the whistle of my mouth, they hear the beep on the collar, and they know immediately to come back. And you've seen Bojangles at Paws and Pints.
I've seen him.
And if I whistle and he can hear my whistle, he'll be back. He can't hear my whistle, and I push the beep button on my collar. He could be an acre away, and he would come back to where he came from and knows exactly where I'm at, and he will, without a doubt, turn around on a dime, come directly back, because the reward is the resource that I hold as the leader of our pack of dogs in the non-Cesar Millan way.
The reward for Stanley is
you don't die today, Stanley.
No, you're probably
so anyway, recall training, positive reinforcement.
E-collar. We should probably
I'll link
that e-collar.
Yeah.
I know you've sent it to me. I've sent it to Mom and Dad for Mercury too. So
yeah.
And it's
really
Prime
well.
Days, so
yeah. Get some
on
money
it.
off.
I mean, they're not that expensive.
No,
anyway. They're like
don't
$30,
spend a ton of money
$40.
on those. You're really, for this exercise, what I'm talking about, you're not looking for anything too fancy. You just want to have a long range, and you want to be able to have multiple channels if you have multiple dogs. And for us, waterproof is a big deal, because my kids really like the water.
Especially for Bojangles, yeah.
He really loves the water. So anyway, that's another training tool that you can use. But please research it and understand what you're doing. Do not get an e-collar and then shock the shit out of your dog because they're being naughty. Okay.
Right.
So anyway.
We do have other things to talk about, like how to introduce your dog to other dogs, how to introduce your dog to cats,
all the things.
Your kids, etc.
We're just going to continue this series of
have to get into that another time. But,
yeah.
mostly when people ask, is the dog good with kids? I want to say,
is your kid an asshole?
Is your kid good with dogs? I mean,
if your kid's an asshole, then no.
Yeah.
So
and potty training, how to handle that. I potty trained Dorito in 3 days. It's easily done, so don't let that.
Especially if you have a side of queso.
Don't let that deter you from adopting or fostering a dog that's not potty trained yet.
It's all doable.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But we do want to get into our featured foster. We want to wrap this up. We know we're running a little long. Our featured foster this week is Carrie Tumea.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Don't ask me.
You.
I don't know.
It is right, because she is part of the Tumea and Sons
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes. You want some good food, you go there. But if
we
you
love
want
her though. She
has a mobile notary business, and I have to say that because she's the most organized. We get her adoption paperwork back. It is not
check.
It's titled correctly. It's in a PDF format. There's very little we have to do when this dog comes back.
When we save it, yeah.
Lets us know when there's an issue with the dog, exactly what's happening, outlines it really well so we understand what's happening.
Yeah, she'll send videos if the dog is having behavioral issues or
not feeling well,
coughing or something like that. She has signed up, just without notice and without concern with so many dogs. I'm sure her husband is just...
And she has fostered...
She would probably qualify for a few sessions with our on-staff
and Mario is so
He is such a hoot, though.
He's hilarious.
So we had the foster appreciation dinner in, January, February, somewhere there. And he came, and I was so anticipating this, prick of a man.
Yeah.
Just this grumpy old man. He was the exact opposite.
He is just the light of the party.
The most fun-loving. He is the life of the party, wants to have a good time. And she is, I mean,
Right there beside him.
I don't want to like make any, but I'm pretty sure I know who wears pants in our family. No, she's got
sweet.
it down, and she's helped us out on several dogs.
Yeah.
And
She's the one.
She's like my backup. Like,
Yeah. What are we going to do?
Where are we going to send this dog? Who does Carrie
What's
have right
Carrie
now?
doing? And so they have a wonderful daughter who is in culinary school right now.
Oh yeah, and she even went over
Mara,
overseas and did a internship.
Yeah,
It was
she's
amazing.
incredible, but also very good with the dogs. She has a pretty severe dog allergy, so they have only taken like poodle-y dogs from us, but that's been a large portion because of the overbreeding of poodle-type dogs. That's another tale. But since they started fostering with us, that family has fostered and adopted out, unless I'm missing one, 17 dogs.
Wow.
And so we are very thankful. And all of their dogs just land in the most wonderful homes. And it's just always the best story. She gets this dog and she figures out what it needs and wants and then meets the people. And the next thing I know, I have a very packaged up and tidy adoption. And it's just wonderful. It's nice to not have to worry when we send a dog away to Carrie.
I always like to see kind of the progression of foster homes
Yeah.
because when they first come in, they have like 8 million questions.
Yes.
And they don't know what they're doing, and
that's
they don't know how to
to
do
be
it.
expected.
And it's totally fine, totally cool, totally expected. We're happy to help. We're happy that you're here. We're more than happy to hold your hand through the first few. And then they're like, then their feet are wet, and they're like,
Yeah, let's roll.
yeah, I got this. And then you get to the stage where they're like bringing dogs to you.
Yeah, then they're like, hey, somebody messaged me because this dog needs help.
Right.
And I'm in the mafia now, and so here's what needs to happen.
They just cross that chasm. It
has.
You know, it's somewhere in between like the 12th and 15th dog where they cross that chasm.
And they're like, well, I am now deeply in, you know.
I'm in the mafia.
Yeah, they got their tattoo and
Yeah.
everything, you know.
And with a name like that, I mean,
Yeah.
you probably got a little connection.
Yeah, you
so
never
we need
know.
to bury a fish or two.
But seriously, this whole family is completely wonderful, and we're absolutely blessed to have them. I don't think we knew, they were one of our first fosters that came to us that we didn't know personally.
Right.
And we've gotten to know them all very well. But their very first dog is the one that I will talk about. It was a 14-year-old Schnauzer poodle who was adopted by a young lady who still to this, I mean, it was back in 2023, May. Adopted this little Schnauzer poodle, friend of a friend. Her very first dog on her own, chose to adopt a senior dog. Carrie and Aubrey, who adopted the dog, and I sat in her yard, and I could tell from that moment that Carrie was hooked.
Yeah.
She's like, I got to see this 14-year-old, like, what I thought when it walked through the door was a dying dog, go live with this young lady who is over the moon in love with this dog,
Right.
and just see the progression of it. And it has been really magical to watch her understand what the process can do.
And she has foster failed.
She did. And so
We're
we
so
always
happy for her,
freaking
too.
love to make fun of people that name their dog Bella. So this dog came in
the fuck? with
with the name Isabella, but she goes, "We're a good Italian family. We can't change this dog's name from Isabella." So as a good Italian family would, they kept the name Bella, and she's the cutest little Schnauzer. She comes to Paws and Pints, sees me from time to time bopping around, and she's a sweetheart and has been a good foster friend to many other dogs after her.
Well, not that it makes any sort of difference, but she has the most adorable house
It's
on the
so
south
cute.
side. It's got the little arch
door,
door,
yeah.
and the brick.
It's fun to bring
And
dogs
she's
there.
so sweet.
Every time I get there, she's like, "Do you want a White Claw or something?" I never want a White Claw, but I love that you ask every time I show up. It makes me happy.
I love her.
We just love her, and we're so thankful to have you as a part of our Mutt Mafia.
Yeah, and we hope to see you at the next foster appreciation.
Yeah,
'Cause y'all are
get there early and stay late.
I think I got some selfies of the 3 or 4 of us. It's fun.
Yes. And so the last thing I really want to chat about before we wrap things up is, well, two things really. One, we did do a high level thank you to the family pet organization who helped us spay all of those dogs, but our sweet Courtney, who has been with us since day one, and like I said, we've been rescuing dogs together for well over a decade. She lost one of her pack this week, and on the day of this huge orchestration of all of these free spays that her clinic was doing that morning, her dog, she had to put her down.
Which she called me mid-morning to give me an update on another dog, and I hadn't heard about her having to put med down yet, and I had
Total
no
professional.
idea. Completely professional, and no quips, no tears, no hiccups, no nothing. And I'm like, after I heard, I'm like, what? Like, I would have been like,
I mean, she probably was before she called you and shook it off, because she's one of us, you know. But Matt was a dog that came into my house on a night where there were 8 other Chihuahuas, 2 of which were pregnant. Matt was one of them who was pregnant, and she was the mother of actually one of my heart dogs, Sloth. And she lived for 7 years with Courtney, and eventually succumbed to heart failure, and was just the luckiest dog in the world. And we're so thankful that she got to live her days out with Courtney, and really thankful that Courtney is part of our mafia and is helping us to save so many dogs. And she's always willing to, if I'm like, I'm not sure what's wrong with this dog, and she's like, it could fall on the x-ray table and maybe an x-ray could happen. So she's always willing to help us out. And then the last thing I wanted to just talk about is our upcoming episode, which is complete chaos as we dive into our love of dog groomers and all things.
So just the way that it kind of happened out is we had to record that episode before this episode, and it is
so we know
absolute shit show
in the most fun way. You guys are gonna love listening to us chat with
true mafia fashion.
Bree and Heaven came, and so
Bree and Heaven are
our guests for our
guest
toy
groomers.
episode, which is what your groomer wants you to know. And so stay tuned for that next week. But with that, I will wrap up with a question.
We're definitely going to have another episode with them.
Yeah, they're coming back because we have more to say about dog grooming.
Absolute chaos.
In the best way. I just love those two. So you got to listen for all of that fun. But I do have a question. What do you think, like, as I was thinking about, like, a dog groomer, like some dogs like really hate the water, like a cat. What kind of dog like really loves the water and like would like a bath, do you think? Thoughts?
Is this your stupid joke?
What?
Oh my god. What is it?
The number one
got me.
dog
God
that
damn it.
loves to take a bath is a shampoodle.
I cannot with you.
And next week, you'll get to hear all about what it's like to have to groom and floof and froof all of your doodles that you guys are buying and hopefully adopting from Oh My Dog Rescue. But anyway, as it stands,
when we got together to talk about this episode, I told Carrie, I said, like I said, when we started out this episode, you know, don't be afraid as a foster or don't be afraid as an adopter to take in the dogs that have issues.
It's usually not that big of a deal, first of all. And second of all, it's just a learning curve.
And these dogs need homes just as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
And we'll talk to you next time. And we have got lots more behavior tips coming, and just stay tuned. We'll figure it out.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
My dog.